Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Open Skies Hypnotherapy's YouTube channel. This is just an update tonight that my book, You Are Enough, my third book, is now live on Amazon. I'm really, really excited that the book is now live. It's been a lot of work. It's been a collaboration between myself and two final year students at Norwich Arts University, who have produced some beautiful illustrations for the book, and have been instrumental in getting it formatted for me. I'm really excited. I've written three books now since the beginning of 2024. Um, so that's quite some going. That works out at a book every 6 months, roughly. And my fourth book is currently finished and is now being edited. I will have to make changes to that one, but it is in the process of being edited by my book mentor right now. But for tonight, we are focusing on You Are Enough. Now, this book for me is hugely important. It's a book that I'm extremely passionate about. I'm passionate about all of my books, but this one in particular feels really special to me. And the reason it feels really special to me is because, firstly, it is a beautifully illustrated, very gentle poetry. It's basically a story, but it's written as a poem. It's got beautiful illustrations, and I just feel like it's going to be lovely for kids um, to be able to read with their parents or teachers. Um, the second reason it's important is the message of the book. So, I obviously am a therapist and I use a model of therapy known as transactional analysis. And in that model of therapy, we talk a lot about your life script. So, your life script essentially is formed when you're very young. Okay, so when you hear early years practitioners talking about the importance of the formative years, that is why they're talking about the importance of those years. It is proven that in our formative years, in our very early years, we form our life script. And as with any script, whether you're an actor in a play or whatever you're doing, we don't tend to deviate from our script. In fact, if we do deviate from our script, we can find ourselves in some trouble. So when you're forming your life script at a very early age, it's important that that life script is a good one, a healthy one. And unfortunately, most of the time it isn't. Now, that isn't anyone's fault. I'm not here to talk about blame. I'm not here to talk about anyone being wrong. Okay, that is not what I do at all. What I'm about is I'm about educating, I'm about raising awareness, and I'm about trying to make the world a better place because at the moment the world is not in a good state for many, many reasons. And I think if we can all do our bit to make it a better place, then that will really help our mental health. So, what I'm about is making the world nicer. Okay, I'm about making it just a nicer place for us all, where we can actually understand one another and set aside any feeling of blame when things haven't gone quite right, and actually just start to be more nurturing and compassionate towards each other. So, when we talk about life scripts and we talk about the life script that we inherit as a child, it could be passed down to us by our own parents, and they're probably passing it down from their parents. Um, it can also be formed by messages we hear at school. Um, it can be formed in numerous ways. But essentially, that life script, if it's a little bit wonky, if it's a little bit not quite right, it can really affect us in adulthood because, as I say, we don't tend to deviate from it until we reach a point of burnout where we can no longer continue as we are. And that's the point when we normally end up in therapy. And at that point, we start to understand about the life script and we start to realize we might need to change it up a bit if we're going to actually be able to function fully as an adult. If your life script is a bit wonky, it can mean that you sabotage your own happiness. It can mean that you make very unhealthy choices in terms of your relationships, in terms of perhaps substance misuse, your relationship with food, gambling, sex, food, drink, all of those things, drugs. We can really make some very unhealthy choices. We can have unhealthy friendships where we are perhaps not really valued or we're controlled in some way. Um, so this life script is really important because if it's wrong when we're very small, it's going to affect the way we live our life as an adult and how fulfilled we are and whether we're actually living to our true potential. So You Are Enough for me was a really lovely thing to write because for me, it's a book that I think will really help to stop children from internalizing messages that are not theirs to carry. Um, in the book, I talk about the parent who very unwittingly, this is not a conscious thing they're doing, but very unwittingly, they're passing on messages. They may be trying to live their life through their child, or they're passing on messages that the child is internalizing as being very critical or very restrictive, and the child is feeling quite trapped. This book, I think, is going to be a really good book because not only is it going to be great for the parents to be educated about what they might be doing or what they might be saying. It's also going to help parents to look at their own childhoods and think back to their own messages that they heard and actually help them to heal from their own generational trauma, if indeed that is what they have got. Really, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this book is updating our toolbox. So, if we have a very old toolbox that we're passing down to our children, it simply won't work. If we are cutting our lawn with an old-fashioned scythe, it's going to take quite some time. Why would we do that when we can all go out and buy a lawnmower that's going to do it very, very quickly with not as much effort? And that's what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about updating the toolbox. So we are sometimes unwittingly passing on to our children outdated tools, outdated messages from our own childhoods or way back in our family history that simply will not work anymore. The world is evolving at quite a fast pace, and some of the messages and the tools that we use are now very outdated. So we need to be updating our toolbox. And this book is really about updating your toolbox and understanding how we might be able to do that in a very gentle way. Again, it's not about blame. I'm a parent like everyone else, and I am guilty like everyone else of sometimes repeating the patterns from my own childhood. The difference is that I'm aware of it. I'm able to stop doing it. I'm able to apologize when I have done it, recognize when I have done it, and start to repair the relationship. So it's having that awareness that is going to make such a difference in how we're relating to our children. And that was the reason I wrote the book. I just want there to be something much easier for all of us. And time and again in my therapy room, if I'm honest with you, I see young children who tell me that they feel their parents are not understanding them. They feel that their parents are giving them lots of material things, but not enough time emotionally. Or they feel that their parents are quite critical. Their parents might be saying things to them that the child is perceiving to be critical. The child is perceiving that they've done something wrong or they're at fault, they can't win. Now, lots of these kids are unfortunately self harming. They are involved in things like vaping or other kinds of substance misuse. They are indulging in very unhealthy relationships. They're getting caught up in things that they really should not be getting caught up in at their age. And, when I've looked at this and I've looked at these patterns of behavior that I'm seeing in my room, it really compelled me one day to sit down and write what is now You Are Enough, the book. Um, I want there to be education. I want there to be awareness. I want there to be open, honest dialogues in every family, in every household, between parents and kids with no judgment on either part. Just honest, open dialogue. That is the key to starting to sort out some of the stuff that may have gone a bit wrong. So that was the reason I wrote this book, and I'm really pleased to say it is now live on Amazon. So please, please, please support me. Please support your local self-publishing author. Please support small business. It means the world to be able to get the book out there. It isn't cheap to publish a book, you know. I don't know if people realize the amount of money that you have to spend to self-publish, especially if you're getting it illustrated as well, because obviously I have to pay my team of people. So it's not a cheap endeavor by any means. So please do support me. I really want to try and get this one into the best sellers list on Amazon. So if you are able to purchase a copy, please do. If you are a parent teacher association, I strongly recommend purchasing a copy for your school libraries. If you would like me to come into your school and read from the book and talk to your pupils, please let me know. I'm always really happy to do that. If you are a social worker involved with looked after children, again, please consider purchasing a copy of the book or recommending it to your co-workers and colleagues. If you are working in a children's ward in a hospital, perhaps we could have copies there. I think places like Leeway and other domestic refuges would be a really good place to have it, because obviously those kids are going to have some quite damaging messages potentially filtering down from what they've experienced. So it'd be great to have it in there. Places like Break Charity, again, they're doing great work with our young children. I think putting this book out into some of their places would be brilliant. Any bookshops locally around and about the Norwich area or in the Norfolk area who would like to stock it, please, please, please contact me. I really want to get this out to as many people as I can. I'm happy to come and do readings for you. I'm happy to come and do signings, events, anything you like, workshops, whatever you want. I just want to get this out. I'm so passionate about this book because when I was a kid, I had the same life script. I felt that I wasn't enough. I felt that I wasn't going to be um, the person my parents wanted me to be. I felt that whatever I did wasn't quite right. There was always something missing. I could never quite be enough. And it took me a long time to shed that narrative. But I have shed it now. Um, Sometimes it still creeps up on me, but I have the tools now to understand what's happening and to put a stop to it quite quickly. But it can be really damaging, and it was really damaging. It was really damaging for me, and I don't want that to be the case for our young children. I think they've got quite enough to contend with as it is. So please, please reach out to me. Please purchase one for your own children, your grandchildren, your godchildren, your nieces, nephews, family, friends. Let's get it out there. Let's get it doing its thing. Sophie and Millie at the Norwich University of the Arts will also be very grateful because if you're buying the book, you're also promoting their work and their very beautiful formatting and illustrating. So yeah, as many people as possible, please purchase it. I'm really, really looking forward to getting it out there and coming out over the summer to do some events, workshops, signings, readings, chat to you all. I'll chat to you all as much as you like, give you any advice that I can, and just chat to you parent to parent if that's what you'd like. So please, please, please do support me. I really do appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to getting the first sales in and starting to really make a difference. So thanks again for all of your support. Thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you really soon. Good night.